Bisco.
On Ham.
Julie Webb.
Leslie's here. I don't know.
She's on mute though.
Sorry, I talked a minute ago. Leslie Carruthers. Sorry, I'm getting my papers. I'm checking off names on papers.
Okay.
Just like the good old days. Okay,
And I'm
6:07.
And Michael will be late, is that right?
Yes.
Got it.
Okay. Michael should join us as we go. On March 16th, 2020, Governor Greg Abbott granted a request by Attorney General Ken Paxton to temporarily suspend a limited number of open meetings laws to the extent necessary to allow telephonic and video conference meetings in response to the coronavirus. In accordance with those suspended rules, we certify that the notice of this meeting was posted online for at least 72 hours prior to this meeting. Although members of the board are gathering in a central physical location, we do have a quorum in attendance at this meeting by video conference or telephone call. We are meeting by the use of Zoom teleconferencing, which allows for two-way communication between the board. As we would at any in-person meeting, members of the public who have followed the instructions on the meeting notice for registering to speak during the public comment portion will have their comments read in the comments portion of the posted agenda. All other meeting procedures will adhere to board adopted procedures to the extent practical. An audio recording of this meeting is being made and will be available to the public at a later date. We apologize in advance for any unforeseen difficulties and ask for your patience as we navigate unprecedented conditions. Okay.
All right. You want me to pick up, John?
I guess we get the roll. Are there any public comments that we have?
Do we want to do those in the regular meeting?
Yes, normally, unless there was some on this work session item, I guess.
Work session only for the regular session.
Okay. Okay. So I guess you just need to take off with our work session.
All right. If you all recall, I know it seems like it's been a long, long time since we've had our last regular board meeting, but we had been working on a team of 8 and developing goals for the district. We were in the middle of that. We were supposed to do a work session in March. We canceled the March board meeting because of the COVID-19, and we combined that board meeting with our April board meeting. I have now asked Holly Teague, who was leading us through that team of 8 training, to sit there and join us, to sit there and take us through the goal process. I believe we are ready. We need to develop these goals as for our DEIC committee. Dr. Vu is waiting on the board adoption of these goals, so that would be where we are tonight. I'll let Holly take over from here.
Thank you, Mr. G. Can y'all hear me okay? Thumbs up? Okay. I think I'm going to be able to share my screen. Uh-oh. They disabled screen sharing. So whoever the host is, would they enable screen sharing?
Yes, I'm sorry. One moment here.
Okay.
Okay, you're good, or you should be.
Screen 1, there it is. Can y'all see it now?
I can see it.
Okay, so thank you so much for having me back. I started to say good morning, but then it's really good afternoon or good evening, and I think it's April, and I think it's Tuesday. So I don't know about y'all, but I've kind of lost track of some time. But again, thanks for having me back. So I'm going to quickly go through this first. Uh-oh, it's not letting me advance the slide. That's not good. I'm going to stop share for a minute. Well, this is working great for me. Okay, can you see that? No?
Nope.
Okay, I'm going to show you again. I hope I don't have to every time take it off. PowerPoint slide. Let's try that. Share. Can y'all see the process?
Yes.
Yay, good. Okay, so remember that we did we talked about all of this, and we're just looking at the blue section of what tonight. It's still not letting me advance the slides. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing again and then try to advance the slides, maybe.
Yeah, I don't see any controls on my end that would.
I don't
Are you
either.
using PowerPoint or is it a Google slide?
It's PowerPoint. Oh, there's that. I guess I just have to change it and then share every slide. So I think Dr. Vu pointed y'all, and you did the House Bill 3, the SMART goals that you had to do to meet the requirements of House Bill 3. Did y'all approve those? I thought you did. Okay, I'm going to assume that you approved those. So, but then the goals were just extended from that. The literacy, it extended to students will read on level by the 3rd grade or higher and remain on level throughout their career. The math was, instead of just the 3rd grade math, it was students will demonstrate mastery of foundational mathematics standards prior to the end of 8th grade. And then the CCMR, students will graduate college, career, and or military ready. And then the 4th one that I had in my notes that we put down is students will participate in extracurricular activities. Is that what you guys thought?
Sounds
Yes.
right.
Okay, now, oh, whoa, let me go back. There we go. I think I have to share it every time. So mission, again, means what do we do and why do we exist? And we went through some of them that it needs to be something that people can remember. It really describes what Kennedale is. Vision is what you want in the future. And then the values are those principles, beliefs, and behaviors that guide how you behave. It's working now. So this is your commitment 2025, and I think you guys agreed upon that name for the strategic plan. The vision, committed to excellence. I think that was an agreement. Mission, what I have so far, and I don't know that y'all, it has not been presented to you guys for approval, but it was to partner with families in our community to provide opportunities for today's leaders to become today's learners to become tomorrow's leaders. And then there is not, have not done values, and have not done beliefs. And then the goals are the 5 earlier. So do you have any questions or comments, or no, that's not Holly, that's not what we wanted, or anything with what you're seeing so far?
I'm not disagreeing with what I see so far.
Okay, thanks. I was going to say I have good wait time, I think. I think that tonight that what they would ask you to do, I think Mr. G, and correct me if I'm wrong, is what Dr. Vu needs really for herself, for the district, and for the principals, is the goals that 1 through 4, that you all give her kind of a thumbs up that says, okay, go ahead with that, so that she can complete the district improvement plan and the campus improvement plans.
Yes.
My suggestion is that when this kind of is not as tight as it is, that I get to come to the district and work with a group. I mean, if it has to be just no more than 10 people and we practice social distancing, that we take the information that we have for the values and the beliefs and we bring back to the board. I would hope it could be at your June meeting for first reading and July meeting for you to finalize it. But let me show you the work that Mr. G did with all of the campuses. And what I did to show it to you, instead of showing you every single, I just did a word cloud. And what it does is it takes the words that are used the most frequently and it makes them larger. And so core values would be those, how you expect people to behave. So if you see some of the words, honesty, work, respect, integrity, commitment, compassion, ethics, determination, everything that they did with your staff, when I show you the next two, you'll see that, which is really pretty cool. Students are large and in the big middle of everything, of their thoughts. So we would take all of those core value ideas and we would kind of combine them together and come up with a list of anywhere from 5 to 8 core values that synthesize what people were thinking and see if it meets the board's approval. Then the next were what the beliefs, look again, what came up in the big middle. A lot of the same words: provide, learn, students. So again, we would take all of those suggestions for core beliefs and see what are the similarities and come up with some statements that reflect the input that we gave and then bring them to the board for consideration. And then the last, you already have that mission statement. It's not been approved, but I want you to see that's your why. Again, I'm going to go back 3 slides. Look at that. Students, students, students. From this, I mean, it's pretty evident that students are at the forefront of what your staff and what you guys as a board do. So this is the mission that I think it was kind of pared down from what it was before. But if you can see some of the same words in there, provide, and then future, I didn't mean to do that. Future, successful. And with that same group, they would take these words and take the suggestions and see, does this mission fit with what they thought? Or do they need to bring you all multiple suggestions? So tonight, next steps, what I believe next steps should be is that you all give Dr. Vu, it doesn't have to be a vote, but just a thumbs up. We're okay with those 4 guiding statements to get started. Give us some time to work with a group about core beliefs and core values. And then target to bring back for approval in July, hopefully first reading in June. And then after that, then comes the scorecard and dashboard that you'd have that ready for the new school year. So that's what I have. Take any questions or comments or concerns, or what were you thinking?
Are we in
Well,
agreement on the 4?
Let me take it back to that.
So the 4 goals are, one is the 3rd grade reading by 3rd grade level, the first one. The second one is the 8th grade math, which we talked about. The third one is the CCMR, which is the high school, which covers all 3 grade levels. At least we have some goal for each grade level. And then our level of education. And then the 4th one is where we were looking at the participation, that you wanted students participating and being involved.
They look great to me.
I like them.
I'm good with them.
Yep, sounds good.
Okay, so we can check that off.
Yay.
Okay. All right. I think we are going to vote on that in open session as part of what you will do in the first thing in the open session when we get into our regular meeting, is to approve those goals. So Dr. Vu has those for the DIC committee. Okay.
Has anyone, I guess the question again, we had talked about this before, but are we doing the participation all the way down through elementary on the extracurricular?
You talking about on the goal?
Yes, on
Yeah,
the goal.
on number 4.
Can you go back to that, Holly?
Yes, I can. I'm gonna, you didn't ask for my comment, but I'm gonna give it to you if it's okay.
Sure.
I think that when I first started looking at this, I was thinking, it's really about middle school and high school. But if you think about the very kids that need that connection, It really starts in elementary. And what it does though, is you need to know that it would put some added responsibility on the elementary principals and staff, that they'd have to come up with some way to have some club time during the school day or after school things to get it. And whether you count outside participation as being an extracurricular activity, such as Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, Awana.
Is there a way that we could add to that to incorporate that?
It would be just
Could
what
we
you're
say,
counting.
how about students will participate in
Well, we
extracurricular
could
activities in and outside of school?
and put all students. That way it's all K through 12.
I thought we had that all discussion the last time.
We did. I would like for you to put this. Can y'all see what I'm typing?
No, Pew's not
Not
sharing.
yet.
Hello, Michael.
Hello, Michael.
John's on now.
Yeah.
That's what I did. Can you see that? Students K-12 will participate in extra or co-curricular activities. And you can make it PK if you want. I think K would probably be a little bit more appropriate.
I agree.
Like
I
that.
think we just need to be creative in offerings for junior high, below the junior high level. I think we can come up with ways to fulfill that.
Yeah, because we already have some things set up with the music and the theater and things like that, which is still considered extracurricular. And if you're counting outside, if you're going to count outside entities, we do have KYA and the MBA as far as participation, as far as athletics.
In which we have built a better partnership with, trying to work with them as well.
Okay.
You know, and some of the athletics groups too have camps and things like that, which we can, you know, we get a lot of elementary kids go attend like the baseball camp and do those things. So
Sounds good.
I like the consistency where it's, you know, it begins with students, you know, the emphasis is on students, and then, you know, consistency with the will. What are they going to do? I believe that's very consistent.
I agree. So are we in agreement that we can roll with these four?
Yes.
Yes.
So
Do we
yes.
like Holly's emendation there?
Yes.
Yes.
I do too.
Yes.
Good.
Now, on the mission statement, you know, with the core values and the core beliefs, I gave you all that information with the packets, with everything that the teacher said. You have those at home with you. You can, that's what she put into the Wordles right here, to where the emphasis on those words that popped up. The core values and the core beliefs are something that we're going to bring back to you when we kind of have some more time to do some committee work with some of our staff to kind of put this together, and then see if that's what you like. Does that sound good for you?
Sounds good.
Sounds good to me. The only issue I had on the mission statement, throughout this, we have students, learners. Is that equivalent to students in everyone's mind? Does it need to say students there in the mission statement, or learners?
Well, let me tell you where the mission statement came from. That is basically just a concise version of our present mission statement. I took the one that was really, really long and just took the key components and pared that down. And that was what I presented to you, I think, like 4 or 5 months ago in that original planning process. So, you know, I don't know that we're married to this statement. This is just a pared down version of what we had. You know, if we want to incorporate the values and the beliefs into the mission statement, I think that would be a better idea.
I still think we should keep it as simple as possible so that people will know the statement or could be able to recite it or at least be familiar with it.
It has to mean something to people.
Right.
Our vision statement, that's pretty simple and pretty easy to remember. But I think our mission statement needs to be just as impactful. So.
And all I'm saying is I think the idea of repetition of common themes helps that process of identifying and being able to state what it is. And, you know, again, if we're talking about everything we're looking at, it has the word students in it. I'm just thinking sometimes that even if the words mean the same thing, having that word that's repeated in our goals and repeated in you know, everything that we're looking at might make some sense. And doesn't have to be for right now. We can always come back and modify it. But again, we use the word learners, which I assume means students, but if I have to assume it, it's not as clear.
I agree. I don't think that's a big change, to change that to students.
Did you notice that when I was reading it to you at the beginning, I stumbled over it? Just
a little bit.
And I'd seen it before and knew it, but I said leaders at first. It's so similar. I think that your suggestion is pretty appropriate.
And, you know, and fundamentally, if you're paring it down, I mean, now I'm not saying eliminate the first line, but I mean, the key point is providing opportunities for today's students to become tomorrow's leaders. And then how you accomplish that, whether it's partnering, the process, I'm just wondering in the end, you know, if we really gel it down to the key component, that's the key issue. Providing opportunities for today's students to become tomorrow's leaders, as I read it.
I'm going to go a step further and say, instead of today's students, say our students. You know,
I like taking possession. Yes.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, let's so we want to strike the family and community and just and then change today and learners.
Yeah, because you can put that in your values. You can be
Right.
more specific to how you're doing the mission and your values.
Right. We don't need to state
would be-
everything right here.
that could be tied into your belief statements. So.
Okay, so we want to start with the word provide.
Yeah, our English teachers may have a fit on that one.
I know, I'm like, but
I mean,
I'm making sure I'm writing it like y'all want it.
if you're thinking about, you know, some of the major corporations like Apple and all them, it would just be our students become tomorrow's leaders. Like you just cutting straight to the chase, what it is.
I would say providing opportunities for our students to become tomorrow's leaders. How does that sound? It's like an action statement.
I think to Leslie's point, it's something that I don't know what is it present participle? I don't know what the verbiage is, but you're not supposed to start a sentence with
Yeah.
help me out, Leslie. I don't know what that term is.
Well, I don't remember what it's called either, but you're not supposed to start it with provide. But I mean, starting it with to is not really a very good sentence either. To partner.
What about creating?
What if you flip it and say our students will have the opportunity, or our students will have the opportunity to become tomorrow's leaders.
But if we took the period off and didn't make it a sentence, we just made it
You're not trying to do a sentence.
well, it has a period, but we could take the period off and just make it provide, provide opportunities for students.
Oh, I think providing is the correct English tense. It's future action, ongoing.
Holly, what do you think?
I think that that on that committee that we have, that you need to have an English teacher that will watch every single thing you do. And I think give it to them, and we say the board was playing with this, and we really want it to be quick and concise. And I think they'll come up with something that you'll love. Are y'all still, still think of it individually and send in your ideas. They'll come up and you'll go, that's it.
Sounds good.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna put provide/providing, and then we'll get back to it.
Yep.
Okay.
Sounds good.
And I'm not putting a period at the end.
No.
Check mark 2.
So the whole thing with the mission statement is I ask you the question, why does Kennedale ISD exist?
Well, then you're gonna say to provide.
Yeah. So, you know, providing
And if,
for our students. I like the verb at the beginning or the whatever it is. I taught first grade. We were simple subjects and simple verbs.
yeah, and if you're reading it with what our mission is, or our mission is this statement, it's fine, I think. If you're reading it without the our mission portion of it, it may seem a little clumsy, but hopefully won't too many English teachers, pull out the ruler on us.
Yeah, so everybody starts wordsmithing it,
Trust me, they will. I mean,
Yeah.
not that I don't think if we just have a mission statement, and I mean, I get that most companies do like something like that to learn, and I'm okay with that. But if you think people aren't going to critique us, then you're crazy.
No, they don't do that, right?
Uh-huh.
The only other thing that I can tell you is that sometimes the board has one representative on the committee. So if you want to do that, so that you speak for the board. I've not always had it, but sometimes there is.
It's not a bad idea. I like it.
Well, my only fear with that is the board representative becomes the end decision maker sometimes in that setting.
Yeah.
Chad, you've strived to open up, and again, that would be my only hesitancy to that, is that you've really engaged other parts of our district, and I like that we continue to do that.
Okay.
I think it's just real important that when it's brought to you, and I like the idea of it going like as a first reading and then a second reading, but that you have that opportunity that with that first reading to say, yeah, that's it, or no, I want you to add one more thing, or the next time you see it, I don't want you to have to make a decision that says this is going to be it for the next 5 years. Get one more look at it.
It's okay with me.
Yep.
Cool.
Good.
Well, thank you. Thanks for letting me work with you.
Right on.
Y'all
Thank
have
you.
fun. Am I done?
Thank you.
Longer. So we will continue to work with the wordles that we put together from the committee meetings and develop some values, like she said, 5 to 8 values, and probably about 5 to 8 core belief statements that we will incorporate all of this that's on the screen into it with work from a committee or group.
Good.
That sound like what you want?
Yes.
Yes.
Are they going to be statements, like in sentence statements, or is it just going to be key?
Well, the values
words?
will be probably one word, like the values, but the core beliefs would probably be like 3, like little statements, like 3-word statements, something like that. So,
Okay.
Like you could actually kind of go back to our vision statement, committed to excellence. That's a vision, but it's also could be a very much a core value.
Okay.
Okay.
And I would just say get a wide variety on the committee. So everybody feels represented.
Okay. So July is when we'll be looking to wrap that up.
I would hope sooner, but I'd say no later.
Okay.
Right now, with us, everybody being hard, it's hard to form committees and do committees this way virtually. So it may need to be a little longer just for that time period, for that frame.
Yep.
Well, the governor opened things up. I don't think that we necessarily have to be in that lockdown. We certainly don't have students there, but I think
And-
we can find ways to work together with appropriate distancing and get people
And
going
he's-
again.
And he specifically said teachers could come up to the buildings and do their things. Now, I don't know, but he did say that specifically.
Yeah, but I still think that opens up some other issues. So we'll
Well,
talk
it
about-
probably does, but I mean, he did say that.
Yeah, you also got he's also got a list of things that that they have to go through before, or that have to happen for it to be opened up, and some of them you haven't done yet. You still got the number of cases going up, and you're not showing a decline on a lot of these things. So some of it's matter of opinion. Some of it is if you're going to go by the recommendations. I would be cautious on what we can and can't do. If you're going to do something like that, get a gathering together, I'd still keep people separated. It's just a little easier to do it if you're doing it by video conference.
kind of while we're discussing this, we need to kind of think about how we want to conduct our meetings from this point on. The media center has been renovated, it's finalized. But as far as the mic situation, Brian and I had this discussion today, working to find a solution to where we could maybe spread the mics out. Right now, they're kind of tied into the table. He's working on that. But if we can find a solution to that, are you all willing or wanting to, for our next meetings, which should be our May meeting, to meet back in person, but have the social distancing incorporated into that?
I think meetings in person are more effective. I mean, I just think the dynamic is usually better.
You won't have to wait for me to log on.
I was about to say there's just so many internet issues and stuff. So
Yes.
I don't have an extra mask.
You're gonna wear 3 or 4?
Yep.
Okay.
It's hard to talk with a scuba tank on.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, I think if y'all are in favor of that, then we will, Brian and I will, well, Brian's the brainstorm behind that. I'm going to, try to talk through it with him and see if we can find solutions to where we can make that happen by our next board meeting.
Is everybody comfortable meeting in person?
That's kind of what I was trying to feel everybody out on.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
I'm fine with that.
Okay with that.
I'm good with that unless we start having more cases. I'm kind of with Mr. G and Bisco on a lot of this stuff. I'm not venturing out and I'm not letting my kids out, so I don't want to bring anything back home. But for board meetings, I think that I don't see that unless y'all are going out around town. And
One quick question. Quick question: is that going to be open to the public?
I think we'd have to have certain parameters on that. We'd probably have to do a lot of the same thing. We would have the meeting together, but we would have basically some of the same parameters we are as far as comments and all that, how they're sent into the board. I don't know, because I think we'd be limited to 10 people,
Right.
I think, a big determining factor is going to be what happens, when he speaks again on March 18th. That's going to be a big determining factor on what I think is going to happen. Either it's going to open up more or it's going to be restricted again. So I think by that time, we'll have a better understanding and knowledge of that.
Okay. I say let's go ahead and plan for a meeting in person. And if something changes or we have other situations, let's just plan for that meeting in person. And if any other situation comes up, we can always make a change to where we meeting by video conference.
And how soon we can determine and get a committee have the hiccups, excuse me. As soon as we can, I'm talking with my hands here on the meeting, sorry.
You see your hands.
Yeah, I mean, I talk with my hands a lot, so you have to forgive me for that. The putting the committee together to work with this, how soon we can do that, probably going to determine by the next time that we have a special meeting for a work session to finalize and put this back together, or finalize it and bring it to you. So.
Sounds good.
Two things real quick. I don't care either way whether we meet in person or virtual, but it does make me think of at what point in time, if let's say 2 board members are like, look, I don't want to meet in person. You know what I mean? Like, where's the line in the sand as far as?
Well, if anybody is uncomfortable, we just won't do it.
Okay. And then second question on the.
Does everybody agree?
Well, I think you can hybridize it. I mean, you can have a meeting with 4 or 5, and those are uncomfortable. I mean, it's the restrictions as far as having those remote meetings still apply the same way, that the 2 people could be on a Zoom. I mean, it makes the meeting a little more difficult, but I still don't think that, if you're uncomfortable showing up, you have to be made to show up, because you can come in on Zoom still in a meeting where we're all together.
It might be easy with all these upgrades to the media center.
Brian and I will have to research and see what we can do there. I know this morning we had a meeting with 22 people. I had a few in my office this morning spread out, and while we were hosting the meeting, and other people were on remotely. So we kind of did a combination through Teams this morning.
Yeah, if it can be worked out logistically, where you could do either one, I think that'd probably be the best solution. I just don't want anyone to feel like, like they have to do it or whatever because everyone else is doing it.
No peer pressure.
Right. And then the second question was, and maybe I missed it, but Holly mentioned in one of her slides here, the scorecard and dashboard. Just to kind of backwards plan, what was this planning to be done starting this next school year, the scorecard and dashboard?
Yes, this is what we were using, the maps. When we came in with the maps, broached that to come in. That's what we were going to be using for the scorecard and the dashboard.
Okay, because if I remember the example she showed for Mansfield, the scorecard filtrated into all departments. So maintenance had to have their goals and outcomes set up. Like all those departments would have to have all that up and running, wouldn't they?
Let me go back and clarify something on that. Sorry. I know when we had the last meeting, there was a lot of discussion about the goals and being more specific with the goals. And I think that's what I was referencing there, Michael, sorry. In that the dashboard and stuff will take the goals that you set just now and be more specific with those goals into the dashboard. Now, as far as other areas, we're going to have to develop areas to measure those as well.
Can you still see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's what the suggested, what it would look like. So you'd have the commitment 2025 at the top. And then you'd have curriculum instruction would have what their most important measures are, and student services and human resources, facilities and operations, and then financial services. And then each one of those areas would have their own scorecard. I think that's what you meant by cascading down.
Right. So we want that to be done by the start of the next school year.
Yes. I don't know that you can get all of them done. Every one of those departments done where they decide what their most important measures are. You'll have the top part done, and it shouldn't take long. I mean, it shouldn't take long. It's just a process to go through.
Right.
And I think we discussed that, Michael. We discussed getting ours and the curriculum in, and then each department would start to implement their own, I think is what we talked about, that it would be kind of phasing them in. It wouldn't all happen before the school year starts, but we'd have a start on the important stuff for us, and then each department be looking at doing that. I thought we had that discussion.
Well, and the only reason I brought that up was it seems like if we wait till July to finalize all this, that gives them really only 1 month to put all that together before this, less than a month really, for them to put all that together to start the school year. So I was backwards planning there, thinking about each month and things that might need to be approved. If we want just the goals, if that's it, if it's just that top part, I think, that's fine. But setting down some parameters on like a timeline, I guess, for each department, whether it be December or whatever, I think would be good.
Maybe
I
we do
think-
that a cascading, timeline for those departments. I can't remember. Holly, did you say that that you allowed the department heads to come up with their goals?
Right. I mean, this scorecard, this district scorecard, I think that realistically that it could be brought to you all. I think August would be pretty quick. I think by September, no later than September, could be brought to you the district scorecard with all of these filled out. And then it's just a process of working with each one of those departments for them to what does their scorecard look like? And that may be a December, January before you see each individual department having one. But you'd have like, for financial services, fund balance is probably going to be one of them. How many months you have in fund balance? Your CFO will decide what's the most important measures for the district for that department, and then that'll all be put together to be brought to you.
Yeah, Holly, this is something that the superintendent puts together with his staff and then just presents it to the board, correct? It's not the board deciding each goal for each area.
That's correct. The measures, but if I go back to this slide, you can see that that the guiding statements, the board approves the MVV, the guiding statements and annual goals. We'll bring the district scorecard to you, or Mr. G will, but then they'll bring their, by board policy, they have to approve. You have to approve the district's annual goals, and hopefully it's all tied together.
And I think in some areas you're going to have to afford a little more time, like student
Yeah.
support. Who knows what it looks like when we come back, given what we've done with online learning and going back to in-person instruction and the new world that we've created. Financial services, I hope that Mr. Adams can lay it out there, but I'm afraid that the legislature is going to be looking at how they're going to fund what they already promised to fund. When you have less than $0 a barrel of oil going out there, and then facilities and operations, we're about to have discussions about major facility projects. How are they going to know those till we lay them out? So I think it's naturally going to take some time for those to come to us. But I'm with Michael. If we give a guideline, say we want these by December, they got a target to shoot for, and we should have some help from, I would think.
Well, and John, you bring up a great point, because what we were using was maps, and that was going to give us our baseline to start with, to start creating some of the scorecard measures. And, we're not even going to have the end of the year maps to be able to do that, to see where our students are, because COVID-19 happened. So, you're exactly right. And then what has this done to the economy that's going to affect our finances? So those are all major concerns. So,
I mean, I just see us being flexible in those goals, with the unknowns we face. They can be lofty, aspirational things, but we also have to be realistic where we are with something that we've never dealt with before.
Right on. Well, I think that's a good framework that we maybe consider no later than September that we get the top two maybe, and then the bottom four we look at December.
So you're talking about curriculum and instruction and student support?
Well, look at the commitment 2025. We're going to have that here shortly, and then curriculum and instruction. I assume we can get to at least where we're going to start there, and then the bottom four: student support, human resources, facilities, operations, and finance. Maybe we don't have those finalized till December.
Okay.
I mean, I wasn't trying to give any hard dates. I just think when July hits and we do say this is our goal, I think it would be good to also say, and here's the date for everybody else. So at least they know, like it's very clear, they understand, okay, here's the board goals. Now I have this amount of time to, come up with our department goals, whatever that looks like.
Right.
I think I said it the first time we met, but you can expect the very first time you do this that you may get a couple of these wrong. And they may come back to you, they may decide on something in December and then come back to you in June and say, that was, we shouldn't have picked that one. It doesn't lead to anything. And so it's usually about the second or the third year with a scorecard that you feel we've got it. I just don't know what all this COVID-19 and everything that's happened with that is going to do to a scorecard, but I think it's a good idea to get a start going.
I agree. Are we all in agreement?
Yes.
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 Well, that's good news. Any other business or questions or comments for this meeting? Crickets.
So we come back with there's another number
Wait.
for our next meeting, right?
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Holly.
Thank you.
Thank
Holly,
you.
appreciate it.
Bye-bye. Have a
Bye.
good week.
Bye.
All right, we got about 8 minutes until the next meeting starts. Y'all want to take a break?
Do we need to officially close this one down or?
Yep, because you got a different line.
Yeah, we could all get lost when we transition back.
Yeah, you're killing me.
New number. Good luck.
All right. Well,
Well,
y'all
I'm
give
gonna
me
exit
about.
and come back to our next meeting. So I'm gonna.
All right.
All right, guys.
I'm exiting to the next meeting too.
See you in a few.
All right, I'm going to stop the recording.